Hey, what is going on, guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how pros are playing Yone so far after his release. We'll be going over combos, tips, builds, runes, ability maxing, and matchups. So with that being said, guys, let's get right into it. Alright, so let's start off here by going over a level 3 all-in combo. Level 3 is to where you do start to have some pretty good kill threat early on with Yone. So we got Showmaker, who plays for Damwon Gaming, #1 team in the LCK right now, going up against SKT Closer. And what he's going to do here is he's going to look to charge up his third Q. That's how you want to look to go for an all-in early on with Yone. Get your third Q charged up, and then what he's going to do is he's going to use his E forward onto the Kassadin here in a second. So he's got that third Q charged up. He's going to E forward, Q onto the Kassadin, use an auto, then throw in a W, and now he's got him in lethal, so he's going to Q flash in, ignite, and then finish off the kill. And we'll go over this in slow-mo here just to give you a better idea how to use this. Alright, so he's got his third Q charged up, so he's going to E forward, Q onto the Kassadin, auto attack there, W, auto attack again, he's going to back out, he's got him in lethal now, so he's going to Q flash in, ignite, and then he's going to use his E to get right out of there so he doesn't end up dying under tower. So you do have some really good kill threat early on with Yone because of that E. Like, you can play so aggressively, you can look for these dive plays under the enemy's tower, and you won't even have to burn your flash a lot of the time just because you can zap back to that E really quickly. Now, your level 6 all-in potential with Yone is insanely good. Your dive threat is so strong. So once again, we got Showmaker going up against Closer. Closer plays a little bit too aggressive here. He jumps in with his ultimate, and it's immediately punished by Showmaker. He E's forward, Q's for the knockup, then ults, throws the ignite down, and just zaps back to his E. So we'll slow it down a little bit here, show this in slow motion. He's just going to E forward. Really important for you to Q first and then ultimate. It just guarantees that your ultimate hits, and it's just super easy to do. You're just going to zap right back, and it's really insane how strong your dive threat is at level 6 with this combo. And then a couple more really important combos to know is that you can buffer your Q with flash. So we saw Showmaker do this to get his solo kill at level 3. This is a really good combo to use, so it just gives the enemy very little time to react. If you're trying to finish them off, if they're like super low on HP like Kassadin was there in the first clip, you can Q, flash immediately after, and it's just going to give them very little time to react to your Q going off. You can do the exact same thing with your W. You can W, flash immediately after, and your W is going to have an instant cast time after you end up coming out of your flash. So these are two really good combos to use if you are trying to finish off kills on opponents. Another really good long-range gap close combo you can look to use is you can E first and then immediately after use your third Q and flash, and this just allows you to gain a ton of distance in a very short amount of time. Now, with Yone's third Q, you can use this to go through most walls in the game. Some of the really thick ones you can't get through, but most of the walls you can go over with Yone's Q. So if you're trying to look for an engage in the mid to late game, you're trying to look for a flank play, or you're just trying to escape at a certain point in the game, make sure you do keep this in mind that you can use your Q to get over those walls. So say, for example, you're running through the jungle and you're running past like Raptor Camp or something, you can charge up your third Q and then use it to escape over a wall to get away from the opponent. And then for Yone's E, I'll have in the background gameplay here different walls you can look to go over. You can't go over as many walls as you can with your Q because it does only have a 300 range on the dash, whereas the Q has a 450 range. So it's really important just to note that you can go through a lot of the thinner walls, but most of the thicker walls in the game you won't be able to go through with your E. Now, although with Yone's ultimate, you're going to want to look to use it to get those nice multi-man ultimates off in team fights, you can use it as an escape tool if you really need to. If you're in a sticky situation, then it does have a really long range on it, and you can go through pretty much any wall in the game. I was really surprised you can actually even go over the wall near top lane there. If you're playing top lane and you're on blue side, that really thick wall I'll have in the background gameplay here, you can actually jump over that with your ultimate. The indicator shows that you wouldn't be able to, but for some reason you're able to get over that wall. So just keep in mind that pretty much any wall in the game you're going to be able to go over with your ultimate. Now, I feel like a common mistake a lot of Yone players are going to make when they're trying to get out of a sticky situation is that they're going to use their E when trying to escape, try to get over a wall or something, when in reality, using your E isn't really going to help you out for you to escape, because you're just going to end up snapping back to that after 5 seconds, and it could just end up getting you killed. So you really got to pay attention to this when you're trying to like get away from the opponent. A lot of the time, like if you got your flash up and you need to like get away from them, using your flash is going to be better than like trying to gap close and use your E, because your E is just going to take you back to the spot you used it after those 5 seconds. So now let's move on to breaking down the setup you should be running on your Yone. For the build, starting item there is going to be a Doran's Blade pretty much every single game. Some pros right now are going Doran's Shield if you're in a more difficult matchup or if you're just unfamiliar with the matchup, but Doran's Blade is going to be best for most scenarios. On your first base, you want to be aiming for either your Boots tier 1, a dagger, or if you have enough gold, you want to grab your Berserker Greaves. That's what you're going to be looking to pick up on your first base there. Most pros are aiming to grab those Berserker Greaves very early on in the game and just pick those up. Really good synergy with your Q. And then for core items, as your rush item, it's either going to be a Phantom Dancer or a Static Shiv. Most players are going PD right now, but if you're really snowballing in the early game, or if the enemy team composition doesn't have like a lot of burst damage, if you don't think you're going to get like chunked out really easily by the enemy team, then you can just go Static Shiv there if you don't really need that shield from Phantom Dancer. Second and third item though is going to be IE and Death Dance pretty much every game. Those are really core in the champion right now, and the only item that you would really want to switch up in your build path is that first rush item. And then for the rune setup on Yone, there's two different pages going around at the moment. There's either the Conquer or the Fleet Footwork. So if you're in an easier early game matchup, say if you're going up against Caston, like we saw Showmaker in the background gameplay, he ran the Conquer in that lane because he's confident that he doesn't need the added sustain from Fleet Footwork or from second win. He can just take the Conquer, he can win lane with the Conquer, and the rune is really good on the champion because you can stack it up very quickly. If you're in a harder early game matchup though, if you're up against a champion to where you don't think you have very much kill threat, if they're just going to poke you out a lot early on in lane, you can look to go for the Fleet Footwork there. The Fleet Footwork with the second win in the resolve tree is going to be really good for those more difficult early game matchups. Based on statistics right now, the Fleet page actually does outperform the Conquer page a little bit. It's not being run as much, but the people who are running the Fleet and then Resolve secondary do have around like a 2 to 4% better win rate than players that are running Conquer. And then for the ability maxing, what pretty much all pros are doing at the moment is they're putting a point into Q at level 1, W at level 2, and then E at level 3. And then for the complete ability max, it's going to be a Q max first, E second, and then W last. And then lastly here, let's talk a little bit about Yone's weakest matchups at the moment. Who should be looking to ban when playing this champion? A couple assassin picks right now like Talon, Zed, and Fizz are performing best against him in solo queue. Reason being, or there's a couple reasons for it, but they do have very good mobility in their kit with Fizz E and Q, with Zed W and ultimate. They have the ability to dodge out on Yone Q or on Yone's third Q pretty easily. So if he looks to play aggressive in lane, he looks to dash forward with that third Q. Fizz can outplay it with his E, Zed can outplay it with his W, and another big strength that Yone has in a lot of matchups is that he can just E forward onto the opponent, trade with them, and then just zap back to the E, and most champions can't follow him back to that E, but because of the mobility these champions do have in their kit with ZW, with Talent Ultimate and Q, with Fizz E, Q and Ultimate, they just have the ability to very easily gap close onto Yone, so he doesn't have the ability to punish them as hard with his E in these kind of matchups that do have really good mobility. Alright, so that's going to be all for the video, guys. That's pretty much everything you need to know about Yone, how pros are playing him at the moment. So if you guys did enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have yet to already. So thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.